So, welcome guys to part 2 of our interview here with Christine. And on our first interview, we discussed why and how Christine became a spiritual healer. In addition, we also discussed her perspective on what the problems of the world are and what we can do to make this world a better place. After our conversation the first time, we ended up having a more prolonged conversation about some of the adversities we can face in our lives and how perspective can shape the decisions we make to overcome those adversities. So on this podcast today, we'll be discussing different adversities and challenges one can go through and the perspective one can have in order to make the right decisions for them. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into it.
Hello.
I guess what do you think are one of the main adversity we all go through in life?
I think, just piggybacking off of what you just said about perspectives, I think that our perspective is highly shaped by the paradigm of our caretakers, our first contact that we have in this world. And so if they have a more negative or different perspective, because negative and positive don't really exist, they're just experiences, but like if they have a certain perspective, that usually shapes the way that we see the world. And perspective is everything. Like perspective is key. So if you think everyone is inherently bad and the world is just out to get you, that's what you're going to attract more of in your life. If you see it in a different perspective, that's kind of how your reality is shaped.
Interesting. So you said most of our parents shape the paradigm of our perspective.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I feel like, growing up, in my personal experience, I was never really with my mom and dad at the same time. And when I was with my mom, I was always alone. So my mom didn't really shape I don't think my mom really taught me much, besides maybe I saw the way she treated other people. And I guess that shaped me a little bit to see other people well as well. And my dad, I wasn't really around my dad as much because even when I did go to Cameroon, he was never home. So my perspective kind of, developed on its own, I would say. I don't know.
And what was your perspective growing up? That you
Well,
were independent very early, that you were alone,
yeah,
that you had to figure things out by yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's your perspective, based on their paradigm or their lack of them being, I guess, as present as they should be, because you shouldn't be as alone that much.
Okay.
See how that?
Yeah. Okay, so for those that are trapped in the mindset that are they can't really, they don't really believe in themselves as much, you would say that most of their adversity stems from their parents?
Yeah, I think if you have two children growing up in two different families, and one family is always telling them, you can do it, believe in yourself, you can do anything that you want to do, you're beautiful, all these positive affirmations, and then you have the other child where the parents are maybe absent or neglectful, they're not hyping them up, they are being negative towards them, telling them, oh, you can't be a millionaire, or you can't do that. That's their paradigm. And so as being young, impressionable children, from the ages of 0 to 7, our brain is in the theta wave state, and so we don't have the ability to rationalize. We internalize everything from 0 to 7. So whatever happens in 0 to 7 is crucial in a child's development, especially mentally. So this kid is gonna, thrive and be like, yeah, I can do it. Like, this is what I believe in. It's a belief system, right? Whereas the other kid who didn't grow up in that type of environment may see the world completely different and be like, you can't do that, you can't do that. No, that's not possible. And so you have two totally different paths.
Interesting. Wow. So if most of our perspective, okay, so I have two questions, I guess. Is the effect of when we're in that theta state, or from 0 to 7, can that effect be reversed?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're all in the spiritual journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess so. So, if it can be reversed, what are some steps one can take to begin reversing that process? Well, how do you even identify that you are in that state of, you weren't really brought up in the best perspective? Because I think a lot of people have ego, and a lot of people think, you can't tell them what to do, you can't tell them how to think, which is great. But I also think that it's great to accept when you can learn more, and it's great to be open-minded. So how do you how does one realize that there are some things that they don't know about?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think it's like an epiphany moment that a lot of us have, and this is usually where it's like the spiritual awakening occurs, because it's not just one thing that happens. It's a series of events, and it's pretty much the person has to get really tired of these limited beliefs that they have, and they have to know that there is more out there. And in order for that to happen, it's like you have to be awakened, and it happens very different for everybody. It's very personal, and for me, it was like I said in episode 1, part 1. It was just I was really tired of not feeling fulfilled in my relationships, and also not having a drive or feeling that I was deserving of good things. And once everything kind of hit the fan in my relationship, it got me to start thinking about why. Why do I think this way about myself? And then that leads you down. That opens Pandora's box, essentially. And so it takes becoming self-aware. That's the first step. Becoming self-aware, because we don't realize how self-aware that we're not the majority of our life, that we're just going through like an autopilot, asleep, and that's where you get that term, oh, you're woke, oh, you're asleep. That's where you get that term from, because we are in that subconscious state the majority of our lives until we decide to take control of our lives.
Interesting. I mean, I do know something about the human brain, though. I know that when we learn things, we kind of like learn and forget. Sort of like we create this path in our brain that solidifies a certain behavior, and we don't really go back to check those behaviors that we learned. So I guess a way to be more self-aware is to be more conscious of how we learn things, and maybe go back and reflect on the things that we've learned.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I guess through your life, it's been more of a traumatic experience regarding to your relationships, and maybe somewhat of a challenge of how your parents raised you in a way. So do you think a lot of people go through these adversities? Like, I feel like a lot of people go through a lot of like relationship issues, and it becomes a burden, because when you put all your love and trust into someone, and then all of a sudden you don't speak anymore, that kind of like discourages you from ever wanting to put out that kind of love and trust into somebody else, because you might have the fear that it might happen again, or I don't know.
I think our experiences early on in life shape our relationships as adults, and relationships are our biggest teachers. And if you can actually learn the lessons from the relationships, then you will stop repeating the patterns. But most of us find ourselves in a series of toxic relationships because we had toxic relationships with our parents growing up, and our brain just wants to correct that. We want that validation. And so if we're not able to correct it with our parents, we tend to subconsciously attract partners that display a lot of the characteristics growing up, good or bad, because we're used to it. So even if it's chaotic, even if it's traumatic, even if we attract somebody that treats us badly, it feels normal to us. Even though we don't like it, it still feels safe. And that's why a lot of people, when they do finally get into an actual healthy relationship, they don't know how to navigate it, and they don't feel worthy of it, because we spent so much of our childhood trying to prove our worth and gain our worth from our caretakers, and the majority of them don't have self-worth either. It's a cycle, and this is where we get those generational cycles and curses that have to be broken by doing something different. But we're so used to following the same path as our parents, because even though it doesn't feel good and we know that like this is not what I want, it's comfortable. Humans love comfort and control. So attracting someone that's very similar to your experiences in childhood feels safe.
Well, maybe I don't know. I think the reason why we end up like copying our parents or seeking that validation from our parents is because naturally I think our parents have a tendency to invest in us, and we kind of reciprocate from that investment as us behaving in a way that we think that they're happy with the way they've invested in us. And I don't know, is that a mistake, or can that be a good thing, or can that be a bad, or can they also be a bad thing? How do you like find the medium of like knowing what to do that's best for yourself, and also knowing how to do it such that your parents are happy
That's the problem right there. You shouldn't be doing anything to make anybody else happy but yourself. That is the truth. You have to live this life and for yourself. And of course, we want our parents to be proud of us. But if the only way that your parent is going to be proud of you is if you become a doctor, but you absolutely despise medicine and you don't want to do it, and you actually want to be a musician, then who are you pleasing? That's people pleasing.
Yeah, people pleasing.
Yeah, and that is something that we're taught very young, because we are taught to please our parents and to appease them and to do everything that they didn't do. There's a lot of times our parents push us into sports because they didn't make the football team, so my kid is going to make it. Or they push us to do a certain career because they fell short, and so they're kind of reliving through you. There's a lot of abuse and toxic behaviors that
stem from there.
Yeah, and that doesn't really necessarily need to be hitting you or be so blatant, slapping you in the face. There's so many other ways of emotional abuse. Not letting someone be their own self is very abusive.
Oh wow. So as a parenting tip out there, so we can stop these generational curses from going on, you want to let your kids be whatever they want to be instead of like trying to force what your paradigm of success is on them. I think that is very important too. And
yeah, you should care more about if your child's actually happy than, oh, they're making this amount of money and this status. Because a lot of parents just want to brag and be like, oh, my child's a doctor.
That's
she
so
makes
true.
$300,000 a year. I know, and it's like you're doing it for yourself. That's ego for the parent.
That's ego.
That's ego.
Wow, that's very deep. Wow, so a lot of our problems stem from the ego of our parents.
Absolutely.
So what are the problems that, I don't think we can put all the blame on our parents.
No.
So what are some adversities that we go through that stem from I guess the fact that we don't really learn from our lessons could be part of our issues. And
I think a big adversity that the majority of the population has is that, especially from my generation, I guess, is that we did not learn how to emotionally regulate ourselves. We are dysregulated. We don't know how to do problem-solving skills. We don't know how to handle rejection. We don't know how to handle, conflict. And so it's because of ego. Nothing's wrong with me. It's you. Oh my gosh, no. And it's hard for us to hold ourselves accountable and to understand how to articulate ourselves. We both could have examples of when we've gotten very, very upset at something or someone in a relationship, and it's like we lose it. Like we are like so dysregulated, we're so anxious, we're sweating, we can't get the words out, we're crying, we're angry, we don't know how to just have a normal conversation like this and say, hey, what you did hurt me. That's because that's ego. Yeah. We don't want to let anybody know that they hurt us. Yeah. We're so much trying to be this tough guy all the time but we're all really fragile at the end of the day. We are.
So you think that holding it in or holding those emotions in is not a good thing?
Detrimental to your health, and I think a lot of diseases and a lot of psychological issues, anxiety, depression, that I don't even know what the percentage is, but it's a very high percentage.
What about if instead of deciding to speak about it, we just decided to let it go and just forget about it?
I think letting go is a big part of the process, but speaking your truth and letting those feelings be known is also a big part of it. That's called spiritual bypassing. When you're trying to just let it go and not speak my truth and not tell anybody how it feels, it's still there because you didn't get it out.
Interesting.
So you can say you let it go all you want, but the person that is making you feel that way needs to own those feelings too.
That's true. Interesting, very interesting. All right, so how should one approach adversity such as trauma, or because I know a lot of people go to they seek some kind of drug to make them feel more confident. They may seek some kind of drug to fill in the void, be it like marijuana, alcohol, or whatever it is, right? To fill that void that they think is not there but actually is. So what would you say to someone who is in a bad spot where they, instead of facing their adversity or facing whatever trauma or things that they're going through, they decide to turn to a substance to
I think we've all done that. I can be very transparent with myself. I've used substances. I've used that to cope. I've used other people to cope. I've been super codependent on people to try to fill my voids. I've been codependent on video games. There's so many ways, not even just substances, that we do subconsciously to fill the void. And I think the first part is recognizing that that's what you're doing. That's the problem. A lot of people, I'll use alcohol for example. It's so shoved down our throats in our culture and in the world. Everywhere you go, it's alcohol, alcohol, alcohol. Why? Because that continues to repress and suppress, and people love it. It's such a social thing. You actually are looked at weird if you don't go out and have a drink, and it makes people feel uncomfortable when you're not drinking because we're all running from something. So like,
interesting.
Being able to acknowledge that and say, why do every weekend I'm getting blackout drunk? How come every weekend, or how come I can't go out for an outing and not have a drink? What am I suppressing? And that's where you find a lot of these people that navigate towards each other, and it's called trauma bonds. So you find these group of people that all like to get drunk all the time, and then all of a sudden, when one person wakes up, they're not in the group anymore. They're like, hey guys, let's do something else than drinking. What? Why? What's wrong with you? Why don't you want to do that? No, I want to be clear today. I just want to. And that's where you start seeing the division and how people are bonded in their trauma.
Interesting. Wow, I never thought of it that way. That is so crazy, and it's so true too. Like, you can go out, and if you don't have a beer, you have a drink.
I went out the other day, and I ordered a water from the bar here. I was thirsty. I just wanted a water, and the guy was like, "What are you drinking?" I'm like, "Water." He's like, "What? Are you okay? What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "It's so crazy how sad it is. Alcohol is a drug, and we don't see it like that. So, but if you saw someone
smoking weed
or doing heroin or something, you'd be like, oh my God, why are you doing that drug right now? Why are you But alcohol is a drug. And it's
probably one of the worst drugs.
Worst, and it's so easily accessible. And like I said, you can't even go to like a rooftop yoga in LA. They have mimosas. Yoga is where you're supposed to be clearing your mind, right? And being centered.
Yeah.
Why are they adding mimosas?
Mimosas, yeah, that's true.
See?
What the hell?
It's constant.
Man, they know how to attract those
There's
people.
There's a bigger agenda.
They know how to attract those that are seeking that suppression. And
there's a bigger agenda. The more people that are awakened to themselves, the more power that we feel in ourselves as a collective, and the more that we won't put up with a lot of stuff that's happening in the world.
Wow.
It's an agenda.
That's so true. Okay, so how, for those people that do end up like going down this rabbit hole of, suppressing their feelings and end up being like addicted, right? So what would you say is like the best way to get help if they can't really do it on their own? Like, if you're a woke person and you don't have and you become alcoholic, for example, what else can you do to get out of that rabbit hole? And like, I don't know, what's the level that you have to be at in order to, what's the level of addiction? Or I don't know.
I don't really think there's like a level of addiction. I think, like I said, the first step is being aware that you are using it to cope.
Yeah.
And that is subjective to everybody, and that's very personal to everybody.
True.
You know in your mind, when you lay down at night when you're by yourself that you're like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
But it's so scary to admit that. No one wants to say I'm an alcoholic. No one wants to say I'm addicted to pills.
Okay, but once you admit it.
Then you have to start dealing with why. You have to, whenever you get that urge to want to drink, because there's certain things that trigger us, right?
Yeah.
We get into certain situations and you're like, oh, I just want to get a drink. I just want to. No, and that's where you have to stop right there in the moment, be self-aware, and say, why do I want to go run to alcohol right now? What is it that I don't want to face? And that is the uncomfortable truth. And maybe it's like I had an abusive dad, or maybe there's some type of sexual trauma or something that like I'm suppressing, and that's why I just get blacked out drunk and just, and so you have to actually deal with the uncomfortableness.
And what if you can't deal with it? What if you know what it is and you don't have what it takes to deal with it?
You have therapy, there's spiritual coaches, you can trust a friend just to get it out there. A lot of people don't realize the power in just saying it. For me, I was hiding a lot of stuff from my dad and how he treated me because I wanted so badly to feel like I had a normal childhood. I wanted to portray that I had that great dad and everything because I didn't want to feel different. We want to feel included, right? In society, humans want to feel included. So once I finally had my friends over and I was like, listen guys, this is what really happened to me growing up. It was so freeing for me, just that.
Wow.
Just speaking it and then having them mirror back to me. No, that was not right. Because in my head, it was my dad. I didn't think as a child that he was doing anything to harm me. I thought that this is what I was supposed to be doing. This was normal because I'm a sponge. I'm growing. I'm learning from him.
Yeah.
So then once I finally spoke my truth and had other people mirror back to me that, no, that's not okay, that's when I started to feel like normal. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I just got this off my chest. I wish I didn't wait so long and was embarrassed. So speaking your truth, just getting it out there is very powerful, even if it's in a journal.
Interesting. So the perspective to take away from this is like, if you're dealing with these type of substance abuse or traumatic effects or events, you should just like have a perspective of like, it's not unique to you only, and you can speak it out to, because speaking it out makes it feel better, and it also helps you be more aware that you're not alone and stuff.
And as long as you have a safe group, because obviously there's a lot of people that are traumatized. So if you go to the wrong person, they may not mirror back to you.
Interesting.
They might be like, "What? My dad did that too."
Oh wow.
So,
and that could be even worse.
Yeah, even worse, because now you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm wrong for feeling this way since she did it too, and I guess that's how dads are."
Yeah.
No.
Interesting.
So you have to be careful with who you speak to.
Who you speak to. Wow. Okay. That's very deep. Oh, I love the way you think. Okay. So now that we've gone over ways that you can cope with traumatic effects and the perspectives that you can have, what are some good ways to, so say for example, you're aware of your trauma, you're aware of of your surrounding, you're woke, and you unfortunately you end up in this state where you know what's wrong with you, you speak it out, and you still can't grasp the courage or the willpower it takes to break through. What would you say for someone in that situation?
I think that it takes time, and I think that you can't expect this to be like overnight. You can't expect on Monday to be like, okay, I acknowledge all this, and then Tuesday I speak it out, and now I'm fine. It's a very long process of reprogramming your thought process, because a lot of the trauma comes with limited beliefs and skewed beliefs and perceptions of ourselves. If you grew up with having a lot of neglect, or having like an abandonment wound where like your dad left you, then you shape that paradigm that like, I'm not worthy of someone staying. I'm not worthy of love.
Wow.
I'm not worthy, because that's what you were taught. And so you have to really do a lot of positive affirmations and pour all the love that you try to pour into other people back into yourself until you believe it. And that takes rewiring your brain and reprogramming on a consistent daily basis. For me, I had to do positive affirmations. It felt really foreign in the beginning, but I had to literally look in the mirror and say, I love you, you're beautiful, you're deserving. In the first couple of weeks, I'm like, this is so stupid, like I don't like this. But after I kept on it, I was like, wow, I actually believe this, and I was excited.
How long did you do it for before you realized that?
Probably like a couple months of consistently doing that and meditating and really just getting clear with how I really felt. And that was like also a really hard thing. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like who I was. And that was very shameful for me to be able to admit that to people. I don't want to admit that I don't feel beautiful, that I don't like myself. But it was the truth.
Of how you felt.
Well, yeah, the truth, of how I felt. And the truth will set you free. And then once you accept that and you realize, no, that's not true, then you can start reprogramming.
Interesting. You said something about meditation.
Yeah.
I think that's something I need to work on a lot more, honestly. But how did meditation help you through your journey in university?
Well, we stay distracted. There's so many distractions in our society right now when it comes to TV, mindless scrolling on social media, going out drinking, going to the club, focusing on other people all the time, that we lose sight of what's really going on with us. We're just going through as robots. So when you can actually intentionally sit still and just let your own thoughts come up, you'll be surprised on how much you can actually understand about yourself from sitting in silence. There's so much power in being quiet and just allowing those uncomfortable thoughts to finally come to the surface, because that's why we're staying busy, right? That's why people work out all the time. There's workaholics, because they don't want the thoughts to come up of like, man, I'm really sad still, even though I'm 50 years old, I'm really sad that I never had this relationship with my dad. They don't want to think about that. It doesn't feel good. We're scared of our feelings.
Interesting. So meditation or solidarity helps us be more solidarity.
Yeah, present with yourself, and just accepting of yourself, and to really bring up the issues that you're running from. Once you bring them up, you have to feel in order to heal.
Yeah.
You have to heal, or you have to feel in order to heal.
And you need time to heal.
Yes, and you need time. It takes time. It's different for everybody. But usually for me, like, I was just so focused on the healing that I quit everything in my life and just focused on myself. I quit my relationship, my job, everything. I secluded myself from my family, friends, everything.
Wow, that is so interesting, because I guess that was like a very important thing you knew you had to do.
I needed my own energy for once.
Wow.
I needed my own thoughts. I needed to not be skewed by all the stuff around me, by society, by TV, by social media. I cut it all out. like for the first month, no social media, no nothing. I was like, what do I feel? We're so
Wow, do you know how hard that is to do?
Really?
I mean, just thinking about it, like, whoa, a month without my phone, a month without my job, a month without my friends, a month without. Wow, that sounds pretty tough.
But you would be amazed at what you would come out of afterwards, and how much self-discovery you would have about yourself. How much you'd be like, man, I actually don't even like doing these things that I'm doing. Why am I doing it? And the friends change. Everything changes. Everything changes because, like I said, those trauma bonds. Once you heal, you're not in the trauma anymore, so you don't resonate with a lot of people anymore until they do the work.
Wow, that's so true. That is so tough.
It's really, really hard, especially when you've grown up with these people for 20 years and they're your childhood friends and you guys have always been this and that. But then when you sit and think about it, you're like, what am I really getting from these relationships? I don't feel uplifted or nourished. Every time we hang out, we're just getting drunk.
Yeah.
I want more depth to my friendships.
In your life, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You learn a lot. You do. You learn a lot. Sitting in meditation is so powerful. It can be very challenging in the beginning because we have a really small, low attention span now due to social media. We want instant results. We want things to be done right now. We want to be fixed right now. We want this right now. And it's like these things take time, and we need to learn patience again. Patience is a virtue. It really is.
Yeah. Do you think social media? Well, I guess it depends on how you use it. But man, I do notice it. I do notice it a lot though. Like whenever I go to places, I always see people on their phone, missing the opportunity to connect with others. I guess for some reason, what we scroll through on social media seems more important than the conversations.
It's just a distraction.
Yeah.
It's just a distraction. You could literally be on social media right now, like you said, head in your phone. You could be writing a status. When am I going to find the one? I'm just so this, and the one just walk right by you.
Wow. That's true.
Because you're not connecting, you're not here, you're not present. You're missing so many opportunities by being fixated on what everybody else is doing, which that is not even the truth anyway. It's just a highlight reel. And so you're comparing yourself to someone's best moments.
True.
And so it's just...
Oh, I know I asked you this the other day, but what do you think will happen if enough of us don't have enough of us don't. I mean, I think there's what people want and there's what people can do. What would you say to someone that wants to travel, like an American, for example, that wants to travel, but they have a minimum paying job, they have a child, and they have debt, but they want to travel? Like in that scenario, I feel like that want is different than like wanting to learn a new skill, whereas like you can actually learn a new skill no matter where you're at. But like traveling is like it's like an action you have to take. So if they want to take that action, and they have all these different
adversities and
obstacles, like what would you say to them to? Because everybody has different reasons to travel, right? Some people just want to have a good moment. Some people want to have a celebration, and other people just want to meet other people from around the world and gain perspective. So, what would you say to someone that wants to do it but can't?
I mean, I think if there's a will, there's a way. I think we also need to really look at what we're spending our money on. There's things that like, oh yeah, I want to travel, but I spend $200 a week at the bar. Like, it's priorities. If your priorities are in the right place, you could do anything. It may not be as easy, it may take a little bit longer, but if you prioritize what you actually want in life and you make sure that you are constantly in a state of growth and elevation, and you are willing to take feedback and also do stepping stones, or maybe not be things that you are totally passionate about, but it could be a stepping stone to get you where you need to go, you have to do it. There's some times that we have to make sacrifices for the stuff that we want in the future, and our future is built in the present. And so if, for someone who wants to travel and maybe doesn't make as much money, we have to look at, where are you working? What are you doing? What are you placing yourself in the position to do this? Are you around people that are keeping you small? Are you spending your money on frivolous things? Are you not being focused on the bigger picture, what you want, and you want instant gratification right now? So I'm just going to go out and spend this because I just want to have fun today. Or can you say, I'm going to hold on today. I'm going to hold on that fun today, save my money so I can do something in the future. It's all about your priorities.
I don't know. My perspective on that was like, I feel like a lot of people get discouraged
course.
I think life can like beat you down.
For sure.
And I feel like some people may want certain things that's best for them, but they can't really, or they can't attain it at the moment because they feel like they're not worthy, or they're discouraged that they don't have what it takes.
That comes with the healing, and the meditation, and the uplifting yourself.
Okay, so you're saying that if they just take the time to work on themselves,
yes,
and meditate, learn to be in solidarity, and that will all come.
Yeah, it'll all
bigger
come.
picture
It'll
will
all come if
together.
you have the intention and you're rooted in yourself. And for me, like a higher power, you don't have to be super religious or whatever, but just believing in something bigger than you. I think that's so important, because there are some times where you're just like, all I have is faith. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I have faith, and I'm going to put my intention towards where I want to go. And that's something that, and then all of a sudden, something happens, like they get a random check or a settlement or something happens, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this.
Wow,
you know, things happen like that all the time. It doesn't, we need to get out of the thinking that it's like, I have to work and do this and this, that. No, miracles happen every day.
Wow, that kind of reminds me, like, why do you think things happen the way they do? Like, I can remember so many moments in my life where things just happen out of, like, I don't know how or why they happen, but they happen in my favor. And yeah, like, I think that happens to a lot of people. So, I don't know, can you speak a little bit on that? Like, sometimes life doesn't happen the way you want, but it happens the best. What you need, I guess.
Yeah, we're all being guided on this planet. We're all energy. We're all being guided, and where our intention and energy flows, that's where a lot of things can happen. So if I wake up every day with intention, I'm trying to be the best person that I can be, I'm sending out love, it's going to come back to you. Law of attraction is real. Abundance and all that all comes from here. And what you put out into the world, it's all energy. So what you reflect back, what you put out, you get back. It's so true. It really is. And I've seen it happen so many times in my life where I've given my last to someone, and then an hour later, someone sends me a cash out, just like, oh, here, I was thinking of you. Here's this. Go get dinner on me. And we overlook those moments. We're just kind of like, no, but look, I gave someone my last, and then this person randomly thought of me. It's vibration. And
that's so tough.
Those little things we overlook. We overlook that. And I think if we're more appreciative of the little things and more grateful for things that we already have, and we can find ways to be happy, gratitude is the highest form of receivership.
Wow. Interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Gratitude is the highest form of receivership. And one of the highest vibrations that you can be in is being grateful. And if the universe, if you feel, I'm already grateful for this, it'll send you more things to be grateful for. But if you're constantly in lack and being like, I don't have this and I can't do this, and that's your perspective, then that's what you're going to get more of.
Wow, that's so deep.
It's a mental
I love it.
You're putting out that I don't have enough, and that's what you're going to get back.
So I guess the takeaway from this is we should be more grateful for sure, and we should have a perspective to work more on ourselves, because once we work on ourselves, everything, the bigger picture comes to light, and the perspective that we gain helps us do whatever it is that we need to do in order to be happy.
Yeah, a lot of us are discouraged because, like you said, we don't see ourselves in the light of who we really are. I didn't see my light for a very long time, and everyone else saw it around me, but I didn't see it. And it wasn't until I started to see it to be like, oh wait, I can achieve everything that I want. I am here for a bigger purpose. I'm not here just to work a 9 to 5 and struggle and work paycheck to paycheck. That's not my reality anymore. And so once I realized that I actually had choices, and that I don't have to just go follow the same path that the society puts you on, and I can do things that makes me feel good, I'm in my totally different reality. There's 2 different realities right here, yours and mine.
That's true.
My reality is full of butterflies, rainbows, it's fun. Obviously I have adversity, but I choose to focus on
the fun.
That's what I choose to focus on. Whereas before,
rainbow.
I just focused all the time on what I didn't have. This person looks better than me, this and this, instead of just embracing me. And so I was always sad. I always saw the world in a more gray light. But now I choose to see it differently. It's a choice. It really is.
Wow. So you think the effect of having that different perspective can shape your reality almost instantly?
Completely. You're the most powerful person you know because only you can do it.
Oh, this is my world, damn it.
This is your world. And that's a good thing. Like, we need to stop being the co-star in everyone else's movie. We need to be the main leading actor in our own movie.
That is so deep. Do you think there's power in like imagining that you already have what you dream of, and then like working back to like, you know?
Absolutely. Visualization is huge. Vision boards, just constantly thinking about it. I do scripting, and I write. Today I already write as if it is already happened. So like I script all the time, and that's a way that you can visualize by saying, oh my gosh, I woke up and I landed my deal with my podcast. It's so amazing. I feel so blessed and grateful. This is the best day of my life, because your feelings, that's the vibration.
That's the emotion, yeah.
So if you can trick yourself into thinking that you're already in that vibration, you can receive it.
Wow, did you guys hear that? I think that's some really deep advice right there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all a mind game.
So what is a vision board? I don't know.
So a vision board, like you can just get like a huge poster board, and you can cut out things that you want your vision to be. So like for me, I have like the houses that I want. I have my podcast deal. I have the relationship that I wanted with my mom. I have a picture of me and my mom hugging and loving each other. I had all the places that I want to go, so I cut out pictures of different places that I still want to travel to. Things that I want, like a team that I want to build, so I cut out a picture of like having an entire production team, because while I'm doing all this stuff for myself, I don't enjoy that. It's not, I don't want that to be my reality. And so
I love it.
I want a team to do that for me that's
it.
more skilled, so I can just be the talent. That's my reality. And a lot of us don't realize that we have that choice. We think, I have to do it all on my own. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's so many people that are waiting to help you. You just gotta ask.
That is so true. That is so true. You have to really like dream big.
Yeah. Yeah. And if your dreams are always stuff that you know you can achieve, you're not maximizing your potential. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
Yeah.
If you know, oh, I want to make $40,000 this year, and last year you made $39,000.
Well, yeah.
You know you're going to be able to achieve that, so you're playing small.
Yeah.
But now my dreams scare me, and I get it now. I get it now. I didn't
so
realize
crazy.
what my potential was. A lot of us don't realize what our potential is. And once we do, and that's what's so scary too, a lot of people don't want to go in and do this work, because once you do realize your potential, you can't unsee it. And then you're like faced with like, all right, I'm choosing not to level up. I'm choosing, and that's why they say ignorance is bliss.
Wow.
It really is. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And now you're making a conscious effort. To do nothing or to do it all.
Wow, that is so deep. That is so deep. Man.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss, guys.
It is. Ignorance is bliss. But on the other side, once you can get through the hard and tough stuff, the way you can feel about yourself, the way that you can maximize your life, this is the happiest I've ever been. And I want everyone to feel this inside, because I'm not anything special. I'm not anything different than you guys watching this, than you. We all have the same potential. It's just I believe it now.
Just different mindsets. That's so true.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm reflecting on what you said. You said a lot of like really, really deep things. So a vision board helps you believe more in yourself and what you can think. It helps you visualize your dream.
Yeah, I keep it right on the foot of my bed, like on my bed, and then I keep it right on the wall. So every day I wake up and I go for each thing. I look at all the things that I want, and then I go start my day. Every single day, and some of them have already come true.
How long have you done a vision board for?
I made it back in like February. I made it back in February.
So fairly recently.
So yeah, very recently, and I just look at it every single day. And one of the things is that I wanted to come back and travel and possibly live in Colombia, and I'm looking for apartments as we speak.
Oh, wow. How long have you said you've been to like 60 countries?
Yeah.
Oh wow. How is I guess. Oh, I have a question. Okay. So when you started your travel journey, I don't know how long ago it was, like 2015. Were you spiritually awakened by then? Okay. So did traveling help you bring like a different perspective?
It helped bring a different perspective, but it was also, I just didn't know what to do with my life. A lot of my friends were getting married and having kids at that time, and that wasn't my path. So I was like, what can I do? I don't know. And so I was like, I haven't traveled, maybe I'll try this. And so in a way, it was just my thing. It was something that I was like, since I don't have a partner, I'm not getting married, I want to go see the world. I think there's more out there. I've always been a curious person. I've always wondered more than what was in my hometown. I've always been a big thinker. And that's why I didn't feel like I resonated with the people. So then I wanted to go out and be like, other people have to have my perspective. And so traveling has showed me that. And so it's been very enriching for me.
So would you say traveling and the fact that you went through all these traumatic experiences from an early age is part of the reasons why you became spiritually woke? Or would you say that it's just because you were fed up?
It was just because I was fed up. I honestly, like the traveling, I was just trying to find myself. I was just trying to find what I was supposed to be doing in life. And a part of it was a distraction. It was. I was like, let me go travel. Let me go post all these pictures. I'm everywhere. I'm around the world. I'm having so much fun. But still, even deep down, I wasn't as present and I wasn't as grounded in myself. So I would like to go back, actually, and go back to some of the countries that I went to in 2015 and be more in the mindset that I'm in here. I think I would appreciate it more. I don't think I appreciated it as much as I do now.
Interesting. So, was there a time when you went through all these adversities that you felt like you were doomed?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Or you felt like, the universe was against you or something like that?
No, I didn't think I had anything. I didn't think I had anybody looking out for me. I didn't think I was worthy. I had low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-image. I was in a bad place. Like this woman that you see before you, it took me a lot of work to get to where I am right now.
Wow.
It really did. A lot of tears, a lot of uncomfortable conversations, a lot of speaking my truth, a lot of meltdowns. I had a nervous breakdown last year. Literally.
Wow.
Literally a nervous breakdown on the floor, hysterical crying. Like, what is this life? What am I even here for? What is my purpose? Like, very bad mindset. And then I finally realized, no, I am here for something.
Interesting. So would you say that if you had never gone through this adversity, you would have never found your spiritual awakening?
I mean, I can't say that. I think we all, can get to these conclusions.
Yeah. Different ways.
But I think like I told you yesterday, I would never take back anything that happened to me. If someone said, we can wave a magic wand and you can go back to your childhood and make you just have a perfect life, I would say no. I love the adversity that I went through because now I get the opportunity to help so many other people, and that is so rewarding for me. Had I not had these things happen to me and I had this perfect life, I wouldn't have a lot to add or contribute. And that doesn't build character. Not that I think that people need to go through all this trauma anymore, and if I have kids, I certainly don't want them to have to go through it now. But it's made me who I am, and I'm really, really grateful. See? Perspective.
Oh, yeah.
You get it.
I've rarely had conversations like this where I'm like really impressed with your perspective and the way you view the world. I mean, all your answers you've given today is like spot on.
Thank you.
And it's been an immense pleasure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Any last key word of advice for anyone listening?
The more authentic you are, the better. You are made to stand out, not fit in. So go against the grain, be yourself, and that is why you were put on this planet. And the more authentic you are, the more that you'll be able to step into your truth and purpose, and the happier you'll be. Happiness is the goal. That we're all the pursuit of happiness.
Well, the pursuit of happiness. Wow, that is so deep. I want to add something, but I don't think I should add anything after that. I'll just keep whatever I have to say. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Wow, that was a long podcast.
Really? How long was it?
Like 45 minutes.
Wow, it felt like 15 minutes to me because I can just talk about.
That is so crazy.
Watch your head on that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you really hit your head.
Oh, thank you. But good thing I have some cushion a little bit though.
Oh, you got beautiful hair.
Break the ball.
No, you've got beautiful hair.
Thank you.
I was eavesdropping on your conversation. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
I have one word that I could use to cover everything I listen to. Resilience. We don't teach it to our younger generation anymore. They've lost it.
Yes.
We don't let them fall. We catch them before they fall. We don't teach them to get up on their own. And that's why they can't solve problems and want everybody to tell them what they should do.
Yes.
Because they can't think on their own.
Yeah, no, you're right. And like that's my first tattoo. Always think for yourself. It's all right here. And if you have this, you're rich.
You're right. And I love your comments about social media because I believe this is the heroin of society.
Absolutely.
We're addicted to it.
That's why the suicide rates in ages 12 to 15 are up 150%.
God,
from 2008.
yeah.
Yep, totally agree with you.
It's an epidemic. It is.
And they look at this,
I know.
rather than looking in the mirror.